It was a late Friday night, and Emily was rushing to catch the last train home. She had stayed out with friends longer than she had intended, and now she was in a race against time to make it to the station. When she arrived, panting and out of breath, she found that the platform was empty. The train had already left. Emily groaned in frustration. She didn't have enough money for a taxi, and she didn't know anyone who could give her a ride. She was stranded in the city, with no way to get home. She considered calling her parents, but she knew they would be furious with her for missing the train. She didn't want to face their disappointment. As she stood on the platform, feeling hopeless and alone, she noticed a man sitting on a nearby bench. He was wearing a long coat and a hat pulled down low over his eyes, and he seemed to be lost in thought. Emily hesitated for a moment, but then she approached him. "Excuse me," she said. "Do you know if there are any other trains tonight?" The man looked up at her, and Emily saw that his eyes were kind and gentle. "I'm afraid not," he said. "The last train of the night has already left." Emily felt a pang of despair. What was she going to do? She couldn't spend the night on the streets. The man seemed to sense her anxiety. He stood up and took off his hat. "Here," he said, holding out a train ticket. "I have a spare. You can use it to get home." Emily was stunned. She had never met this man before, and yet he was offering her his ticket. "I can't take that," she said. "It's too generous." The man smiled at her. "Nonsense," he said. "I don't need it. It's yours." Emily hesitated for a moment, but then she took the ticket gratefully. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you so much." The man nodded, and then he turned and walked away, disappearing into the night. Emily boarded the train, feeling overwhelmed with gratitude. As she rode home, she thought about the kind stranger who had helped her. She wondered who he was, and why he had been so generous. But in the end, it didn't matter. He had given her the greatest gift of all, the knowledge that even in the darkest of moments, there are still good people in the world. And that was enough to make her feel as though she was truly on the last train home.